Imagine waking up every single day in the same four walls. No fresh air, no new smells, no reason to get your heart pumping. You eat, you sleep, you stare out the window, and you wait. Now imagine that's your dog's entire life. Not for a day, not for a week, but for years on end. What do you think that does to a mind that was literally built to roam? Today we're going deep inside your dog's brain, and what we find when walks are taken off the table is honestly pretty heartbreaking. But here's the thing, understanding this could completely change how you see that leash hanging by the door. Let's start with something most people don't realize. A dog's nose isn't just for sniffing. It is, in a very real sense, their primary way of reading the world. When your dog steps outside and presses their nose to a patch of grass, they're essentially reading a newspaper. They know another dog was here this morning. They know it was male, roughly middle-aged, and a little stressed out. They might even pick up traces of what that dog had for dinner. That one sniff carries more information than we could gather with a full minute of looking around. Now imagine permanently canceling that newspaper subscription. The part of a dog's brain devoted to processing smell is, proportionally, about 40 times larger than ours. When that part of the brain stops receiving rich, varied input, it quite literally has less to do. And brains, just like muscles, respond to disuse. This brings us to something researchers call cognitive enrichment, which is a fancy way of saying that the brain needs new problems to solve, new things to process, new experiences to file away. Every walk is a cognitive workout. New terrain means new decisions. Where do I step? What's that sound? Should I be cautious or curious? These micro decisions keep the prefrontal regions of your dog's brain active and engaged. Dogs that are regularly deprived of this kind of stimulation can begin to show signs that look remarkably like depression in humans. They become flat, less reactive, less playful. They sleep more, not because they're tired, but because there's simply nothing firing in their brain that makes being awake feel worth it. And then there's the stress piece, which is where things get really important. Dogs have a stress hormone system that works a lot like ours. Cortisol builds up in response to frustration, boredom, and anxiety. In a healthy dog who gets regular walks, that cortisol gets burned off. Physical movement, environmental novelty, and social encounters, even just watching a squirrel from 20 feet away, all help regulate the stress response. But in a dog who never walks, cortisol levels can stay chronically elevated. Over time, that low-grade, constant stress rewires the brain. The amygdala, which is the brain's threat detection center, becomes hypersensitive. This is why underwalked dogs often develop what looks like aggression or fear out of nowhere. It's not a personality flaw. It's a brain that has been quietly marinating in stress hormones for months or years, and is now primed to react to everything as if it might be dangerous. There's also a profound social dimension to this. Dogs are deeply wired for social information. They read posture, movement, and scent from other animals constantly. A dog who is walked regularly builds a kind of social fluency. They know how to greet, how to disengage, how to signal that they're not a threat. A dog who is never walked misses all of that practice. Their social brain, particularly the circuits involved in reading and responding to other dogs, becomes underdeveloped. And just like a person who grows up without much social interaction, they can struggle badly when those situations finally arise. That's often when we see the reactive dog at the end of the leash, lunging, barking, seemingly unhinged, and the owner wondering where it all went wrong. The answer, sadly, is usually long before that moment. Now here's something genuinely fascinating. Walking doesn't just prevent bad things from happening in the brain. It actively builds it. Physical exercise promotes the release of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of it as fertilizer for brain cells. It supports the growth of new neural connections and helps the brain stay plastic, meaning it can learn, adapt, and recover. Senior dogs who stay active tend to retain their cognitive sharpness far longer than dogs who don't. The connection between their paws hitting the pavement and the neurons firing upstairs is very, very real. So what's the takeaway here? A walk is never just a bathroom break. It's a sensory feast, a stress reset, a social lesson, and a brain-building exercise all rolled into one. Every time you click that leash on and step outside, you're doing something that no toy, no treat, and no amount of indoor play can fully replicate. You're giving your dog's brain what it was designed to receive. If life has gotten busy and the walks have been shorter or less frequent lately, don't beat yourself up, but do let this be the nudge you needed. Even 20 minutes of genuine sniffled exploration, where you let your dog lead and take their time, does more for their mental health than a frantic lap around the block ever could. Slow down. Follow their nose. Let them read that newspaper, because a dog who gets to truly experience the world is a dog whose brain gets to be fully, beautifully alive. If this video made you see your daily walk a little differently, share it with a fellow dog owner who needs to hear it. And if you want to go even deeper into the science of your dog's mind, we've got plenty more right here on the channel. See you in the next one.